Well, direct selling happened to me like to many people. It just happened to me. Everyone should work into or work with vacuum cleaners once in their direct selling career. About 100 years ago was the richest man in the world through direct selling. Direct selling has been an evolution, I would say, from the English point of view. D2C is direct selling. Without the practical knowledge and without immediate success, people don't stay. And you cannot use like the Spanish approach in Germany. You can try, but you will not have the same success.
One thing I must say, Dirk, before we start, I mean, not many people would be comfortable in so many languages. So, how many languages do you actually know?
I speak about 5 languages, I think, but this is, well, my mother tongue, which is German, English, which everyone speaks over here, and I use very often in business. And then I lived for many years in France and in Spain. And from Spanish, it's not a long way for Italian.
Okay. So, pretty much you know everything which is south of France, France, Italy, Italia, so German, and then English, and then Spanish. Okay. So, let's start this discussion by understanding your background. How did direct selling happen, and took your imagination? What part of this industry you really liked? So, how did it all started?
So that's two questions at once. Let me start with the first one. Well, direct selling happened to me like to many people. It just happened to me. One day, like almost 20 years ago, a headhunter called me, invited me to an interview, and that's how I ended up at Vorwerk, Thermomix, which is today like the number 4 or 5 direct seller in the world. I didn't know at that time, I didn't know Vorwerk, I didn't know Thermomix, which was quite big already. So it just happened to me.
And so, how's been the journey after that?
And that was a fascinating journey because I ended up, or I started in that very huge, successful company with a great product. The Thermomix, I think you know them in India already.
Yeah.
So, and I stayed with Vorwerk for 10 years in different roles, even in different countries. In Switzerland first at the Vorwerk International, then I went to Spain, really into operational, working as a branch manager. Then I ran the marketing department in Spain. And then I came back to Switzerland for the second product, which is the vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
I used to say I think vacuum cleaners is like an iconic product in direct selling. I used to say everyone should work into or work with vacuum cleaners once in their direct selling career. Vacuum cleaners were once like one of the founding products of direct selling, at least in Europe. I found out that Electrolux, they're still famous. The owner was once, about 100 years ago, was the richest man in the world through direct selling. So
Wow, that's good.
And I read at one point in the time there were like 50 just vacuum cleaner direct sellers just in the UK.
Wow. If you look at the Indian market, obviously there was a direct selling model, but kind of a single level, which Eureka folks, so there was an Indian company which to do, but not per se into the MLM or the multi-level or a uni-level plan. So I think maybe it has to do with the demographic of the product line. It's like a premium product being used in a upper medium segment of society. Maybe that's the reason. So in India, the vacuum cleaners have not moved into direct selling too much.
I think it has to do with the channel, because the first sales method was door to door, which still exists. and vacuum cleaners are a perfect product for door-to-door selling. You can carry it, you can show it directly, and back then, like 100 years ago, it was probably easy to sell once you showed the effect it had in your household.
Great. So, Dirk, looking at the compensation plan now, Forvec or this plan, which is a show and demonstrate kind of a thing, which is more of a party plan, and then there are a lot of other compensation plan. So, how has been your journey? So, what are the compensation plan that are best suited to European market, which have seen growth, or what do you think has now changed over a period of time in the compensation plan?
So Vorwerk is like a pure single level company. So they have single level compensation plans, and the product, the sale of the product is like in the focus of this. And for me, that was for many years, Vorwerk was direct selling. I didn't know anything else. I had no idea about the difference with multi-level, and I only discovered this 17 years later when I joined a multi-level company in Europe. Only then I found out that there was a completely different world to those single-level compensation plan. And I think it's two very different worlds. The one is really focused on selling the product very efficiently, and the other one is very much focused on building teams, on personal development, and putting for me, it's like the second product in direct sales, which is the compensation plan, putting that more into focus.
True. I mean, so multi-level marketing obviously changed the scenario for the direct selling from the uni-level plan. And suddenly you had so many companies mushrooming all across the globe. And
Yes.
You had good companies and the bad players. So how does the law in Europe takes care of the bad people, the companies which tend to get into the Ponzi schemes and all? Are there too many Ponzi schemes in Europe, the way you find it in probably India or African market these days?
So I don't think we have the same issue like in India. I recently read there is like what an amazing number, like 4,000 Ponzi schemes in India. I cannot imagine that. I think the European level, the law is much more advanced, and I cannot see. Well, at first they're not allowed; they're forbidden, and I cannot see any Ponzi schemes in Europe anymore. I mean, clear Ponzi schemes. There is very successful multi-level companies, but they're not pyramid sellers. They're not Ponzi schemes. They're very professional, often also very product-driven direct selling companies.
Great, Dirk. So let's look at the other part now. Now, if the organizations look at the training part, so for the training part, they either these days have their own staff, a training manager who takes care of the training, or it's a leadership training, and they do some outsourced training also with external trainers. So what has been your experience? Which is the better formula for training programs, or in-house trainings, or the leadership trainings that the leaders do in the field?
That's a very good question. And coming from those or having experienced both worlds, I think the in single level marketing, like Vorwerk, the focus on the training is also very different. There is a much bigger focus on the product qualities, and on the sales process as such. And this is very often taught by employed people, and single level companies, at least the ones I know, they have a huge they have very professional training systems, and they are taught by employed people. They have professional trainers, they have branch managers, they have area managers, regional managers, which is like hundreds of people of employed staff. And compared to this, there is this multi-level who run entire countries with just one or two people, which is just helping their networks to organize events and to like offer a basic infrastructure. So and then the multi-level training, it's very often even invented and always run by the direct sellers, by the lines, by the product lines itself, by the teams itself, and then that is most about personal development, a vision, success stories, and much less so about the sales process and closing and the very, let's say, proper sales technique.
I think you summed it right. I mean, it's more about the sales and the company takes care of the processes. Dirk, the most important question I wanted to ask you is now the changing face of direct selling post-COVID. Now, the challenge with the Indian organizations come up when they have huge inventories. So there are organizations which are having about 150, 200 plus SKUs now. So there are two questions. One, do you see organizations having too much of inventory, covering everything from nutraceutical to personal care to home care as a key for a direct selling company to move ahead? Or do you think that we need to have a smaller and a niche market of product line? And how do you see future happening in these categories now?
So in Europe, or at least the companies I follow, they are very much focused on sometimes just one product, like Vorwerk, just the vacuum cleaner or the kitchen appliance, or on product lines or categories. So they're very focused on either skincare or nutrition, or sometimes combining them both because they both are the biggest categories in direct selling. I only know one, which is Amway, which is having a real large inventory over so many categories. So, and then your second question, the evolution. I think until COVID, direct selling has been an evolution where many direct sellers have been perfecting their sales systems just in tiny bits, like in evolutionary. And with COVID, since COVID, the whole sales process was disrupted, and with a very fast accelerated digitization, the whole sales process itself. What I understand by sales process is the lead generation, the booking, then the showing, like the party, and at the end the closing of the sales, and all these different process parts, they are digitally disrupted, and that is what. It's not always good because the high touch, like the personal interaction with the customer and the personal personal doing the sales process, that made the difference to all the other sales channels.
So the balance between high touch and high tech is probably gonna be the thing of the future. And so there's another thing which is happening right now is the creating of another marketing name or a channel, which is an affiliate. So earlier we used to have a customer, a preferred customer, or a direct seller. Now we're also putting up an affiliate channel between them. So people who actually don't buy or only refer. Is this phenomena coming in Europe also? You have a customer, affiliate, and a direct seller, or it's only a customer and a direct seller?
from my European point of view, I think what the American companies are like reinventing those affiliate models, where finally most of the commission goes to the seller, which is like a reinvention of the single level model that dominates Europe. So for me, it's like building a single level model into multi-level models. I think it's fascinating, but I don't know if this is going to work.
Do you think the D2C business challenging direct selling now, the e-commerce business? Would direct selling will be able to fight that war with the D2C companies?
Well, I think, well, at least from the English point of view, D2C is direct selling. It's just it's selling directly, but not via the consultants as an intermediate. So, and from this point of view, it's the same business. For me, it is very different, and it lacks this component of the consultant like building their business or having an income opportunity for part-time consultants. I think it's still a very long way from a D2C brand to go into real direct selling. That's what I understand by it.
Okay, Dirk, you've been consulting a lot of organizations, and you've been helping, guiding people also in so many fields. So, if an organization comes to you, with a plan they would like to get into direct selling, or vis-a-vis a general retail model or a modern trade model or a D2C model, do you consult them on that also, picking up the line that whether an organization should get into direct sales or not?
Well, I would explain them first what the difference is between one and the other. What the huge difference is between D2C and direct selling, having to deal with hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands consultants. That's a very different business model, and that requires, if you want to do it, if you want to try, that's easy to set up. But if you want to do it professionally from the start, you need to build systems, and you need to have experts who really understand the business.
Okay, great. Dirk, on a personal note, I mean, apart from the direct selling, which are your 3 favorite books that you refer to in direct selling, which you think everyone who's into direct selling should read those books?
That's a very good question. I love there is this sociologist called Biggert who wrote about it's called charismatic capitalism. So that is about understanding direct selling and direct selling companies, like from an organizational point of view. So which is the basics to understand direct selling. From an operational point of view, I love the Brett A. Blake, which is about sales systems, because he breaks down direct selling into sales systems that are easily replicated, which is like system scale. And then I have to think about a third one. I would probably go for the Gordon Hester one, which is quite recent. He writes about the evolution in direct selling, the future of direct selling, and moving from a consultant-centric to a product-centric.
That's a good word, consultant-centric to product-centric. So now let's look at the 3 famous trainers that you've worked with. 3 training personalities, 3 training systems that you worked with. Who do you think are the topmost 3?
I cannot really respond to that question. I do follow the big events the big multi-level events. I've been at an Eric Rory event in Berlin 2 years ago, which was fascinating.
There's been a question that's coming up in India. There are two kinds of training. One is you get training from the company, and
Yes.
by you're applying or through the company. And there's another thing which is coming up which is called as a university or a college curriculum about direct selling, or a certification programs about direct selling. And I've heard that there are a couple of places across the world where you have these structured places where you go and take a certificate. Do you think that knowledge works for a direct seller? I mean, going to a university and taking probably a diploma or a certificate or a degree from a direct selling institute teaching direct selling, or it's always the on the job kind of thing that works?
Well, I think the first thing you talked about was the onboarding process that every direct selling company needs.
Yeah.
So, and that's very specific to the job, because without the practical knowledge and without immediate success, people don't stay. They try, they stay for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they are gone again. I know the best example for the second type of education you talked about is comes from France, where they offer, like what you said, kind of a curriculum for experienced direct sellers to also get an official diploma and study direct selling over several months. But that has to do with the French law, the French labor law, and the specific status direct sellers have in France, because they're recognized direct sellers from an association. So, and then it's a short way to offer them even a training which is independent from the company itself, and which is like a state recognized diploma.
Okay, so that's interesting. So straight recognized diploma, and the training is independent of the organization training.
Yeah.
Is it like a mandatory thing also? Mandatory for everyone to attend this?
No, I don't think it's mandatory. I've been following this. I've seen the pictures of they have an annual gala where they recognize the new laureates.
And so that's interesting because these organizations are also now coming up in India. I mean, it helps to create a positive perception or an impact about the industry. Now, coming to the operational side, do an organization need to open up an office everywhere in every country to operate in Europe, or they can run a single warehouse model and just dispatch to all other places?
Well, there is companies, especially multi-level companies, coming into Europe and starting with that model you talked about, just setting up a distribution center and then hoping for their leaders to grow the business. I don't think it's the most successful approach. What I see from other companies is that they start in one country and have a critical mass in one country, the critical mass of consultants, and to prove that they have a successful sales model, and only then expand to other European countries. Because even though Europe seems, I think compared to India, seems very small, I think. It is culturally very diverse. You have different, not only different languages, but also very different sales cultures. And you cannot use the Spanish approach in Germany. Well, you can try, but you will not have the same success. I think it's a different mentality, which leads very often to different sales models, like from party to referral model, which the one is easier than the other in different regions.
Great. I remember you telling me that the average purchase per direct seller in Germany is about 400 euros.
Oh, I would have to look that number up again, but like if you look at direct selling wide, industry wide, I think the average sale of each direct seller is much higher because you have so many single level companies like Vorwerk dominating this still, and they sell mostly high ticket items. So and that drives the average purchase up compared to like nutritional products or skincare products. And then what also influences this is a large percentage of full-time consultants. So who need to earn in Germany 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 euros every month in order to live on that.
Okay, I think that makes sense. Now, Dirk, the most important question, and I think that we're also running out of the time, and thank you so much. Your book, The Future of Direct Selling, when do we get to see the copy now?
Well, at first, I have to correct you. It's not about the future of direct selling. It's really rather about the basics of direct selling. Because I figured 2 years ago, I figured out that there is not such book to understand or that explains direct selling from all the different angles, from the outside view and also from the inside. And that was my goal, to write a book about to really understand direct selling. The funny thing, it has come out, it's already available on Amazon.
Wow.
But just I have to disappoint you, it's just the German version, because I do not have an English version yet. But the German version is available even before my official book launch mid-February.
Okay, so when do we get to see the English version?
That is a very good question. So I still have to find someone to write the English version with, because the German version is written very much from a German, a European point of view. So and I think the English version needs a co-writer explaining direct selling from that different angle as well.
And as per the continents also, probably even if you write an English perspective, it has to be a US perspective also. Maybe if an Indian, then you need a South Asian perspective about the book. Because
I think so too. And I think direct selling in India is so big, so huge, that it probably needs an Indian version with Indian examples in there, the Indian point of view, the Indian history, which is like customizing 10 or 20% of the book.
True. I think that's but anyways, we'll still look forward to it, and who knows, you find a guy in India, or maybe Direct Selling Today can just pitch in and help to create a content on it. And because as you rightly said, future of direct selling would depend on understanding the basics of direct selling for both the sides. So unless and until the basics are correct from both the perspective, whether it's a consultant perspective or a management perspective, we don't tend to grow fast enough. I think for this note, I think we will be ending our discussion. And thank you so much for your valuable time and inputs. And looking forward to connect with you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rahul.